in the next couple of days. I would like to move on to the next speaker. It gives me great pleasure to actually introduce Dr. Usman Bugaje. Dr. Bugaje is an Islamic scholar, political activist, and civil society leader and thinker from this country. Initially trained as a pharmacist, his postgraduate studies have included a Master of Arts degree in the Interdisciplinary Social Science Program of African Studies at the Institute of African and Asian Studies, University of Khartoum, and the doctorate in intellectual history of West Africa, focusing on the tradition of Tajdid in Western Bilad al-Sudan from the same institution. He has served as Special Political Affairs for the Nigerian Vice President between 1999 and 2003. He ventured into politics in 2003 and was elected to represent the Kaita Jibaya Federal Constituency, the Federal House of Representatives, where he chaired the House Committee on Foreign Affairs until 2007. Currently, he is involved in many notable initiatives, including acting as the convener of the Area Research and Development Project, ARDP, a public policy group that is promoting policies to restore stable governance and stimulate economic renewal in the northern states of Nigeria. I would like to formally welcome to the podium Dr. Bugaje, who presented the researcher's perspective, providing context for our ongoing discussion. Dr. Bugaje, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, moderator, and thank you very much, fellow panelists, and my greetings and respects, to very distinguished personalities on this panel. Let me save time by going straight to the points that we are supposed to be making. I would like to divide my presentation into two. I will talk about the research initiatives, and then later on speak about what solutions we are working at the moment. Starting with the Area Research and Development Project, which is a development platform created about 9 years ago. We did a study or a conference out of which we crafted a development agenda with the acronym STAND. STAND stands for Strategic Agenda for Northern Development, in which education featured very prominently. And since then, we have tried to see how we can implement some of these ideas of education in the northern states. And we had quite a number of experiences. And in specific terms, we realized that, like the statistics Dr. Bashir presented, we have a large number of schools, children out of school. And if you look at the total number of children in mainstream education, and you compute the amount of funding that goes, and you find out the per capita and multiply that with those children that are out of school, you will discover that what is required to enroll these children into school is a huge amount of money that we simply do not have. This means that we have to be more creative, and we have to find a system that will gradually take this burden. So this is part of the conclusions, or the kind of research finding that should be useful to us when we think of how to address the system. We have proceeded, of course, to do a number of other things, but let me come back to another platform. When we realized the magnitude of the problem in respect of the Quranic schools, or the Almajiranci system of education, we created another platform, our FAC Educational Foundation, that focuses on curriculum reform and the mobilization of the ulama who are involved. And having had a team of nearly 50 scholars working on this curriculum, we also did a one-year program, which is more of an advocacy program, going to the, we covered about, I think, 20 FM stations in 15 northern states across, and we did a program called Ilimi Abunema in Hausa, where we tried to engage the various stakeholders, and we invited them and we visited the scholars, very much like what Dr. Hadiza has said. We tried to involve the Al-Daramma, and we found it, a very interesting project, because we discovered the thinking and the kind of understanding, and we're able to appreciate the problems. Now, this research itself is being collated and is going to be made available. We have it all recorded, but it's all good that we have found out ways, to engage, and we discovered that many of these scholars are quite willing to expand their curriculum and to get their own products, to acquire skills that can allow them to live a decent life in the country like any other citizen. And then we collapsed these two platforms and started to see how is it that we can actually resolve these issues. And one of the things that we realized is that, like previous scholars have indicated, this is not a simple issue of curriculum alone. It's a complex issue, and we have to disaggregate the different aspects so that you can be able to appreciate the nature of the problem, because it's like solving any disease. You have to first carry out a thorough diagnosis. If you do not have a good diagnosis, it is unlikely that you can even prescribe a particular treatment. So we looked at the different components. That is issue of curriculum, the issue of content, that is the issue of quality, that is the issue of psychosociological support, that is the issue of technical skills, that is the issue of poverty and ignorance. There are a number of other issues. So having appreciated that this is a very complex issue, it's not something that you can provide a simplistic solution, as many of the governors try to do, by simply removing the Almajiri from one part of the country to the other without making any particular arrangement, without creating any particular support, and like has been previously said, treating them very much like second-class citizens. We thought this is all the result of a very poor policy or lack of policy at all. And therefore, we now discussed with a range of stakeholders and came up with the idea that one way to resolve this issue, and perhaps the best way at the moment to resolve the issue, is to bring all the research that has been done on the Almajiri or the Almajiranci system of education, and bring all the stakeholders on one single platform, and have what we decided, for want of any better name, a national summit on Almajiranci. Now, this national summit, in the second part of my own presentation, we have succeeded in getting about a dozen groups that are already working on this, because no one single group will be able to be able to get, to be able to solve this problem. And attempts by other groups, while commendable, are clearly not enough to resolve a problem that is so deep rooted, then that has so many components. We have on this platform our fact itself Educational Foundation, the ARDP, we have the Sultan Foundation, we have the FlexiZap, we have the Almajiri Rights Initiative, we have the ASRI, we have the Women in Da'wah, we have Form 1, we have Northern Education Project located in Arewa House. We've got quite a number, including members of the National Assembly, because you need legislation, you need resource allocation, you need a number of other things. So over time, we have succeeded in bringing these people, and we are still counting, we are still inviting others who have ideas, who have the passion to join us, so that we can collectively work, so that we can create synergy and complementarity, so that we can actually succeed as a group. No one individual can actually resolve this issue, like I kept, saying. Now, what we have done so far in this particular respect is to draw up a work plan. And that work plan has 4 phases. The first phase, which we have already started, is to identify and map all the research that has been done, online, offline, in archives. We have gone as far back as the pre-colonial period, the colonial period, and the post-colonial period. And we want to lay our hands on every material possible that has been done. Is it a conference? It is a report? Is it survey? Is it whatever it is, that has been done on the Almajiri? This is
Okay,
because...
Dr. Bugaje, can I interrupt, please?
Yes, please.
You almost exceeded your time by about 40 seconds.
Okay, so let me just conclude in a minute. So we've got this phase of collecting all the research that has been done. The next phase is to turn this research into a narrative of the evolution of the system, which will actually be a baseline study for us. And the next phase is to have cohorts, that is group of experts, some on curriculum development, others on skill acquisition, others on psychosociological support, others on logistics. All the components will have experts to study. And this is what we are going to take to the National Summit. And the National Summit will not only bring stakeholders and bring solutions on the table that will be discussed and agreed, but it was transformed as a kind of monitoring and evaluation mechanism, very much like we have the National Economic Summit, so that every year there will be a report on how far we have gone. And people can be able to say, no, we are not doing well here. How do we improve on this? And how do we, so that as a group, as a nation, we now can focus on this with the expertise, with the knowledge that is necessary to be able to move along that direction of solving like other countries have done. Thank you very much for listening.